Hello again. In Chaos of Cults by John Karel von Baalen, we've reached Chapter 7, The Unity School of Christianity. Charles W. Ferguson, in his book The Confusion of Tongues, has, in his inimitable style, defined unity as, quote, an enormous mail order concern dispensing health and happiness on the large scale of modern business enterprise. It is mass production in religion, and its work is carried on shrewdly and systematically. It has transformed the United States mail into a missionary machine. It is the work of a retired realtor and his inspired wife, and with its tedious array of tabular facts and its insufferable efficiency, it suggests pretty well what Americans want in the realm of the spirit. End of quote. Side by side with this, we submit Dr. Atkins' opinion on New Thought. Quote, it is the apotheosis of what James called the religion of healthy-mindedness. It all fits easily into the dominant temper of our times and seems to reconcile that serving of two masters, God and getting on, which a lonely teacher long ago thought quite impossible. Now, this is all the comment coming from the first third of the 20th century. Have things changed? Well, unity is not as influential as it was back then. Many of these cults that von Baalen is first citing in the 1930s are not, but they've infiltrated the culture in a very invisible way, really, if you know how to trace these currents of thought in our developments over the last century. He goes on, these two opinions of two writers on two religious cults coincide thus remarkably because the two cults are almost one, being as two branches on the same tree. There is a third branch, and we have come to know it as Christian Science. Origin. To understand the interrelationship of these three cults, that is, New Thought, Unity School, and Christian Science, we should go back to Franz Anton Mesmer, the great German physician who, from 1774 to 1814, wrestled with the problem of psychotherapy, as we call it today. Mesmer, however, incidentally, discovered the power of one man over another. But his discovery was too great for his genius. He did not understand his own remarkable find, so unorthodox in his day, and attributed the powers of the subconscious mind to magnetism, later on to a fluid supposed to emanate from the healer and to affect the patient. Mesmer, though by turns worshipped and despised, adored and hated, never commercialized his find, never lost faith in his discovery, and never used his great power to take advantage of others. But what Mesmer would not have thought of doing, his disciples, the 100% and 40% disciples and the 10% followers of this remarkable man, have not hesitated to do. Just as the bona fide evangelism of America's earlier days has degenerated into a loudly screaming money-making scheme which has destroyed its own usefulness, so the hypnotists and the mesmerists and the spiritists and the theosophists, together with the host of faith healers and mind curers, have misused the newly discovered fact of the power of mind over matter for the sake of filthy lucre. They have amassed large fortunes, and they have helped suffering humanity to forget its nervous troubles and its organic diseases, just as many have found relief and healing. Healing is in question, is in quotation marks. Healing from the use of the Owens electric belt, the oxypathor and the oxygenor, or genor, the electrochemical ring, and Rice rupture cure, and Swoboda's conscious evolution, which, quote, has made possible for everyone the possession of super health, super vitality, super courage, super aggressiveness, super mental power, and super every power, end of quote. And as these officially condemned and exposed quacks could nevertheless produce testimonies of physicians as well as those who had benefited by being fleeced by them, so Unity and New Thought and Christian Science can boast of swarms of people who would lay down their lives in gratitude for the obtained salvation. For in one respect, the Mardens and Eddies and Fillmores have outwitted the ordinary quacks. They have turned their healing recipes into the conundrums of a deeply mystic religion, thereby adding a fervor and a flavor which the common garden variety of healer has missed. To Count Maxime de Puységur belongs the honor of having discovered in 1784 that Mesmer's alleged magnetic fluid is indeed a power of the human mind, and he opened up the large field of hypnotism and somnambulism. Charles Poyen, a French hypnotist, introduced the revived mesmerism to the gullible American public of the New England states in 1836. Phineas Park Quimby heard Poyen lecture at Belfast, Maine. Poyen told Park that he had vast psychic power. Quimby, the clockmaker, began to experiment with sick folk using his rare hypnotic power upon suffering New England, and in his own right discovered the power of mind over matter. Quimby became the pioneer mental healer of his day and country. It was not medicine, but faith in medicine, which healed people, according to Quimby. He wrote his philosophy in 10 volumes of longhand. These manuscripts he generously lent to his disciples and patients, being of the old style, which did not think of healing in terms of self-aggrandizement. He disclaimed divine inspiration when his admirers tried to force it onto him, and he was glad to have others spread his knowledge. Among those who benefited by Quimby's manuscripts and methods of healing were Mrs. Eddy, who, as Mrs. Patterson, came to him in 1862 when he was 60 and she was 41, and Julius Dresser. Mrs. Eddy plagiarized the Quimby manuscripts after Quimby's death and denounced the man to whom she had earlier written poetry. To P. Quimby, who heals the sick as Jesus did, she said. Meanwhile, Dresser became one of the early propagandists of New Thought. Observe then the following dates. Science and Health was first printed in 1875. The name New Thought first appeared as the title of a small magazine devoted to mental healing in 1894. Mrs. Fillmore and her husband decided in 1889 to devote themselves to propagating their discovery of health and harmony through practical Christianity, which is the very name that was in use for New Thought in the West. No wonder there is a great family likeness among these three. Next time we focus on the Fillmores. I'll put in a link this time to Mary Baker Eddy, who founded a religion which denied reality, and also a link to our second Adventism playlist, which is quite extensive. See you next time.